Joe Gallagher, of course, yesterday we were in the gym. Joe, looking at you going through the motions as well, as intense, if not more intense than I've ever seen you, actually, the way that you were working. But that gym's as busy as I've ever seen it, if not busier. Is that fair?
I wouldn't say busier. I think Anthony will vouch for it when we were flying at the time. Obviously, I was Scott Cardle, Jose Burton, the Smiths, Macklin. We always had around 12-14 fighters in the gym at the time. And as you've seen yesterday, it's busy. There was a few of Anthony's kids in as well. But no, it's in a good state at the moment. I'm really happy. I did speak to, I think it was Natasha yesterday, funny enough, Natasha, just to say, as you keep saying to me, I thought you were retiring last year. And as the saying goes, I was out, but it keeps dragging me back in. And I think that's down to Natasha more than anything else. I think finally her achieving a world title dream and seeing it, I'm a bit more at ease with myself and I'm enjoying it. As you've seen yesterday, I was doing technique sessions with them in the gym, and everyone that's in that gym that's training at the moment have got what Anthony has had and Scott's had, that they've had that ambition, they've got that drive, they want what they've had, they want them TV dates, they want to fight, win for titles. And coaching's a lot easier when the kids have the same determination and drive as you, and everyone's singing off the same hymn sheet. So yeah, it's good, and we go again.
You're in there all the time now as a coach, though. It's a different thing, but it's kind of the team's still there, if you like. But is it weirder now?
Yeah,
how's it work with the pair of you?
Me and Scott was talking about it yesterday, and it's outstanding boring. It's just mad how time flies. And then we joke at the end. It's great. I'll always say, I know Joe's sat next to me, but I'm just thankful to be in the gym alongside sort of learning from Joe. I'm very, very young in this game. I've been around boxing a long time as a coach. And like, I'm not too big, for the good jobs that Joe gives me, like he's out of camera, but padding Callum Johnson, so my elbows are in bits for days. Like Scott's actually smart enough to swerve that. But no, it's good. And there's a real great buzz in there at the minute because there's a lot of them with Joe. With dates, like there's 4 on next week. Yeah. There's 4 on next week from the gym. And I've got a lad on as well. He's not been up as much, but he gets in when he can. Up to bowling with us. So yeah, it's great when everyone's striving for the same date. There's that nice friendly competition.
Did you feel Dom touched on it there years ago? That's very much when it was like you, Swifty, Cardle, Scott Quigg, and everyone else still coming through. It was a case, right, fight date, they've won, on to the next one, it'll be my turn next. Oh, right, and obviously we went on them silly runs of the time, so them fights, but that's how it feels at the moment. Natasha winning the world title. Obviously Macaulay did well with Sergio Martinez, but we've got 4 next week. Then we're into Tomo in London.
And it inspires them,
Butler,
and it's because you're thinking, no, I'm bouncing into that, and then hopefully, I know that I'm much lower level, Joe, but them 4 win next week, and then it goes on to Tomo, and then it's like, Paul Butler's like, I'm in a gym that's absolutely bouncing, that keeps winning. Yeah. I go and, become world champion again. I think that's a great thing, when it's that. Joe's always been very big on, I don't know if he's, I'm sure, I know you did, the Moss Side, the Phil Martin story, the M14 recently, for anyone who's not seen it, unbelievable piece that you've got to go and check out. But I think Joe's always said to me he's tried to install a team spirit, and I think that's what he's doing again now at the gym.
That's where it comes from, really, then, isn't it? Because you've always done that, haven't you? It is that team thing. They all watch everybody when they're fighting. Everyone goes to watch the other one fight, and it makes a lot of sense anyway, doesn't it, for gym morale? But it is that you're all as one. Yeah,
of course it is. And like I say, you've seen that documentary. I've got to say it was a brilliant piece by Jim Bentley, and I'm hearing now that hopefully ITV got to take it, and he deserves everything coming his way, awards for that piece of filming. But as you've seen in that, the team spirit that was in Moss Side, us against the world, and I can relate with it, and that's what we've carried on. It's always been us against the world. I think I went on a bit of a mad speech to you yesterday, Dom, as well, but that just shows you that the fire still burns bright inside, and it is or it is, but I feel I'm a big admirer of Ferguson. And
I was just going to say, I thought it was Sir Alex the Siege mentality, but clearly Phil was ahead of that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I've always felt like, well, I don't care. We're not in this. We're in this to win titles. We're in a results-based business like football, and that's what you get judged on. And with this current crop now, you're trying to mould that mentality into them. And like you say, hopefully they've got Scott, they've got Anthony Crolla, people who have been there, been under me and gone on and won world titles, and now they're padding them. And the feedback I'm getting from the fighters, you mentioned Callum Johnson, I'll mention Mark Heffron with Scott Quigg, Charlie Edwards, Paul Butler, 2 former world champions who goes on the pads, but afterwards they go, oh, really enjoyed that pads there with Scott then, or really enjoyed that Crolla told me some stuff there, and Quigg told me, and I'm like, good, because just before the interview went on, from a fighter to go to a coach, we see it in football many times. The world's best football doesn't mean you've got to be a great manager. And you've seen the best Wenger, Ferguson, never won no World Cups, but they ended up being the best managers. But even in boxing, Emmanuel Stewart never boxed professionally. Do you know what I mean? Became, people recognise as one of the best coaches. Angelo Dundee never as well. So as a fighter, you're confident in what you're doing or your belief in you're doing, but then to try and become a teacher and give people advice and think, oh, is that the wrong advice? Oh, did I say the wrong thing there? And did I believe in what I'm saying? And you've got to build that confidence. So by me saying to Scott, you pad Paul Butler or take him sparring, or Anthony, we take him and take them, and them coming away and getting feedback, because the fighters tell me, and relating it back to Scott and Anthony, that's good for them. They're developing and they're learning, and yeah, it's all good, and it's good that Anthony and Scott are still part of it. And like I said before, I'd love Natasha to get into the female side of it, but she's none of it. She's too busy now with TV and pink gin of a weekend and everything else. She's just living the good life. I'm so happy for her.
But there's still more champions coming out there, Jim. And as you say, Natasha, she's in there training, so she's obviously got one eye maybe on that unification with Hannah Rankins. That makes sense.
Yeah, but that's a good fight. I personally myself can't see it happening. I think from what I hear already, they're asking for silly money, which is like, it's never going to happen, the money they're asking. So maybe we might have to fight the other world champion. So that would be it. Paul Butler's world title in April. Charlie Edwards is in a world title eliminator coming up. We've got Mark Heffron fighting for the British. Hopefully Marcus has got to fight the winner of the Denzel Bentley fight, if he's fight coming up for the British. So like years ago, we had 1 or 2 at world title level. Then all of a sudden, them 10 or 12 became championship fighters. At the moment, we've got 3, 4, 5 world title level, but the rest of them have got to become British, domestic, European, and catch up. So, yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to be stuck with it for another 6, 7, 8 years. And I've got Clark Smith turning professional, who I've got big things expected of him, and Callum Thompson. He's an exciting prospect. But it really is good when you go to work. And when you go to work, I always say you've got to enjoy your work. We go in there, you've seen it, Dom, Anthony's in there. We're all in there, I'm in there at 8:30, but we don't start working till 10 because Quigg will come in and he'll have his stories. Macaulay McGowan will come out, who's good for a story.
He's got many stories.
Yeah. Ophi's got another one. And then Anthony turns in and he's got his. And then later, not least, but James Moorcroft comes out with some theories going on. So it's like the comedy store for an hour, Dom. But that's what you want when you go to work, and then the music's turned up, everyone goes to work, and then at the end of it, and everyone goes home going, it's good that today, it's good that. And that's a good environment for you to prosper. And like I've said to Clark Smith today, if you can't prosper in that environment, we've got former world champions giving you pads and giving you advice and training alongside world champions, British champions. If you've not got to do it there, you're not got to do it nowhere.
We're sat here in Fox ABC where you do a lot of your work, obviously with the amateurs, but with your own fighters like Rhiannon and James and Jake James. But you still have that alliance with, you want to go in and take them in with Joe, and you do your work with Joe and everything else. So it's a funny, bringing the two camps. I mean, yours is much smaller, obviously, but you want us to keep doing that and keep...
Absolutely.
You've not seen enough of them yet.
It benefits them massively. No, and I'm thankful when Joe helps me out. My fighters, and there's times that I can't get there. I know that Joe's always like, listen, no, come here and Joe will look after him. So, no, I definitely, and I think for someone like I said, I'm a very inexperienced coach. You know, I'm learning, but I think it helps them being around that environment with, like Joe was just saying, fighters who are looking for world titles, you know, your Callum Johnson, your Charlie Edwards, your Paul Butler, being around that. And I think the saying's mega cheesy and it does nothing a bit, but like, you know, the iron sharpens iron and stuff like that. But I think success breeds success. So I think that can only help him.
You two go back a long way now, but you know, when you look at how the sport is at the minute, and there's these YouTubers, everything's changed really. It's a digital age now and everything else. But with everything that we're seeing, the judging controversies, all the rest of it, what do you want to put right now? I mean, you haven't retired. You're still going. You've got a lot of fighters now. You're going to be going for a lot longer. But what is it that are the big frustrations now that you have?
And I say, I'm not saying it's okay, but there's been a lot made of bad judging recently. But the bad decisions are always going to happen in this sport. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it should be brushed under the carpet. Things should be looked into, but we're always going to have bad decisions in boxing.
I also feel, when we're on about the judging, obviously it went 15 rounds, it's down to 12. I've heard many people suggest, why don't they just cut the rounds again and make it just into a 10 round or a 9 round fight?
The problem will always, you get bad decisions in a 4-rounder.
Well, since obviously the one that made loads of headlines, Cattrall and Taylor, there's been many a bad scorecard since, but there's never been no hype about it. That there's been opposite scorecards to the other ones that won, but just because that made the House of Commons or it wasn't on national TV, nothing's been done about it. But I do understand as well as a point of view, because from a judge's point of view, I can see sometimes how one judge can see totally a different view from two other judges, because he's sat where the other two judges can see the action and he can't. So I can see sometimes a different scorecard like that. But it's easy for people sat at home with all Sky cameras, every angle, commentary, to see a total different fight than that one judge that most probably didn't see much of the action because the back's to him all the time. So it is subjective, as Robert Smith would say.
But before you go, we've got to run the rule over a few fights that are coming up and give you predictions on it. In terms of the next, I suppose, huge one, showing Newcastle, obviously Savannah Marshall, I wouldn't imagine she'll have too much trouble in that one. But Fury, obviously local guy, in against Dillian Whyte. It's a fight. It always seems to be a massive problem, obviously, with the big heavyweight fights making them, but it is there now. What happens in that?
If it goes ahead, it goes ahead. If you listen to Frank the other day and the argument with Dylan's lawyer,
the build-up has been mental, hasn't it? You know, when you think about it,
the image rights, even down to the poster. I'm a huge Tyson Fury fan, but I want Tyson to win. I just think the way Dylan and his team have behaved for the build-up for this fight. They're getting his biggest purse today. He's challenging for the world title, and the way they're behaving is just not winning no fans over. The thing is, as well, is it's not his job, but you should enjoy the event, enjoy the press conference, enjoy the occasion as big as. And the thing was, is Dylan not doing himself any favours. If he wins, no one's got to hardly see it because Dylan hasn't done his best fight. But if it comes to a rematch, he's got to do himself damage again because hardly anyone's seen it, and the way that he acted, he'll be looking not a good person as well. I just think what they all should have said was, as Eddie should have said, well, listen, Dylan, there's your purse. I didn't win the purse bids. Good luck with it, and anything you need, we're here, and let them get crack on with it. But the games are not coming over or presser, but I think it's drawing more traction for all the wrongdoings that they're not doing for it, if that makes sense. So, and obviously, Frank the other day, I think Frank won that one 1-0, didn't ever with the shoulder roll. You can't beat Frank at that type of game. And I agreed what they said. If it isn't in the contract, what you're arguing about, you signed it, and you should have ironed them out, crossed the I's and the T's before you signed it. But going back to it, I want Tyson Fury to win. I think Tyson will win. I see him brought over. Miller doing a bit of sparring now. Has had good sparring. Dylan's over in Portugal, assume. He's training away, and it's a huge opportunity for him. They're all relying on Dylan down the straight with a big shot. I just think Tyson Fury is a bit too cute, too smart, big stage experience, been against the bigger punchers, and people forget Dylan only a couple of fights got knocked out by a 48-year-old Povetkin.
It wasn't 48, was
no,
it?
a 40-year-old Povetkin, 39, 40-year-old Povetkin. So I think if you're looking at light or down, Tyson Fury's a favourite, and as long as he's not being messed about or in his head or he's took it lightly, I think Tyson will win.
And we know what's been going on in Ukraine, but Usyk is out and training now, and that is going to happen apparently, so we're led to believe. So Joshua Usyk in June. Anything changed from the first fight?
Apart from the venue, I wouldn't want it to go out to Saudi. I don't think that's a thing. I think that might be quite a cute move.
The front runners, though, doesn't it? Looks the front runner.
I think it's a good, cute move because AJ's fought over there before and won. But we've got to remember AJ fighting Usyk in London, all of a sudden it might not be a favourite because of Usyk coming out and being at war with his country. A bit like Muhammad Ali when he was out of action for a while against Vietnam and everything else. He's got to be portrayed as a hero. And that could be turn the crowd and the tide. So I can understand them overthinking, hang on a minute, I'm trying to challenge for the world title, but I'm not getting the Raws now, it's Usyk. So taking it to Dubai, obviously money is a big player as well. But it'd be interesting to see the adjustments Anthony Joshua's made. But as much as he's made, Usyk will make again. And I just think it'll be the same type of result again. Usyk and winning and keeping all the belts.
Who's the best coach in the country?
At the moment, you can't say that there's numerous coaches, good coaches, amateur, professional, at all levels, up and down the country. I'm always a big fan of Graham Everett down in Norwich, does great work, turns over fighters all the time. Carl Greaves. There's lots of good coaches, there's great amateur coaches as well. So it isn't fair to say who's the best. Everyone during a period of time has a hot spell. I've been there myself, and you get the accolades and the pat on the back, and it's great and to be acknowledged. But you cannot say not someone's the best. Everyone's good at what they do. Everyone does different things differently. It's just at a period of time, someone will have a good string of results, whether it be Shane McGuigan, Ben Davison, Dominic Ingram, myself, Adam Booth. There's so many good coaches in the country, and we're blessed. I don't think we've really had that many good coaches in a very long time, and we've got lots of up-and-coming promising coaches, Anthony alongside me, as others as well. So Joe Mack over in Liverpool is a good coach that's coming through as well. So you can't say who's the best coach, all right, but what you
could have just said me, and then that would have been done.
Well, we're based on results-based business, so take it how you want.
Well, that was a very pleasant answer there, Joe. Very magnanimous, giving everyone a bit of credit there.
I'm maturing, Dom. As Crolla used to say to me at the presser, stay humble, Joe, stay humble. And I used to say, sod humble, they're having it.